I'm Simone.
And I'm Ann.
And today is going to be a free-for-all. But first things first, let's talk about the White House COVID outbreak.
It's like a bingo. That's what I'm thinking of it as.
You're thinking of it as a bingo?
Yeah, we're gonna get bingo.
I mean, I'm sure
And
somebody
the whole
out there.
administration is just taken out.
I mean, I'm surprised my Pence doesn't have it. But
I read somewhere that some doctor weighed in on that, and he said that's kind of shaky to assume that he tested negative. Therefore, that's it. Because there's just so many of them like walking around and carrying it now that the chances of him being exposed are still really high.
yeah, I mean, they were all there together,
Right.
So he might not have tested positive yet, but he's like right there.
Right. Plus, you got Trump walking around without apparently his mask on and all that. So
All right, yeah. Trump is walking around without his mask, and did you see him when he walked up the steps? And I was like, I know that face. That's the face I make when I try to pretend that I'm not out of breath from climbing a set of stairs.
yeah, people were really weighing in on that one. Some people were pretty serious about it. Like they're like, you can clearly see just like this man's lying about his own physical condition right now, affected by like this disease, which is just frightening because everyone was, I mean, not gonna lie, you're all really excited he had it, and then at the same time hoping to, will this finally be the thing that really just kicks in for his whole fandom, I made a point of calling it, that this thing is, it's deadly. Like it's not fake like they're saying. It's pretty real. And but after his reaction,
It didn't. He was like, you can beat it.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. The rest of us aren't being paid with, like, our healthcare is not covered by taxpayers. And we don't have the best doctors and all the access to experimental medicines. But whatever, you can beat it. But I don't believe for a second that he's beaten it.
no.
It haven't even been a full 2
No, it
weeks
has
since
not.
they announced. And that's when the symptoms, like, it could be up to 2 weeks for symptoms to emerge.
And just think about all the people he has put in danger right now going through this whole little propaganda game of him. Like they had him in the car, parading him around. All the staffers that were in that car were exposed. Anyone basically in the White House, although at this point.
Well, I saw somebody think, and they said, what about the people who catered that event? What about the waiters and waitresses?
Right.
Like, how many of them got COVID because of this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because, America and their, need to make people work all the time, people couldn't have just not done it because they were afraid of COVID. Like, they had to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't care, though. That's the scary thing is, like, I mean, it finally hits home to them, and they still don't care. And it's at a point where it's like, what else? Because, like, for a while I'm saying, oh, maybe he'll get it, and it will just finally dawn on him. But then again, I forgot who I was talking about.
Yeah, you really did.
Yeah, I
You
did.
really did.
I always have just, like, I don't know.
I don't know, we have this, hope that somebody someday will, break through. But,
There's always,
the Simpsons predicted his death, so...
There's still hope for the new generation, though. Did you see Kellyanne Conway's daughter?
Yeah, she's... poor her.
But
Said, my mom's coughing up a lung. And you're like, oh.
no, she was like. Also, did you read though? How I don't know how much do you know about her, or she trolls her mom all the time. So apparently, she's, I don't know how this happened. Pretty left. So if you ever look at her tweets for her mom, like she's probably like people call her like the biggest Kellyanne Conway troll, and it's her own daughter. But apparently Kellyanne Conway wasn't going to tell people that she had COVID till her daughter got on social media and said basically, my dumbass mom at it again, clearly has it, Clearly, anybody who was in there with them has it. Basically confirmed to people that if you had that hope that somehow this would be a wake-up call for them, I'm here to tell you no. But
That's
yeah,
so sad.
Yeah. They're fun to watch though. So she made like TikToks. She's like, you think your family's bad? My mom's Kellyanne Conway.
My mom's Kellyanne Conway.
Oh, she's currently working on getting what's it called?
Emancipated?
Emancipated, yeah.
Why?
Because her mom's Kellyanne Conway.
I mean, yeah, okay, but like I don't like Kellyanne Conway as much as the next person, but at the same time,
there's also
she's Kellyanne Conway.
Well, there's also allegations that, again, these are all allegations, as far as verbal abuse in the house, more than just your politics are wrong, but actually to the point where it's like harassment over it.
I can see that.
And also kind of encouraging, the sick part about it, like almost encouraging like the public to still engage in harassment against their daughter, and the idea that she's brainwashed by leftist politics and media.
We are all brainwashed by leftist politics and media. Well, you know, now, like, Fox News, speaking of leftist politics, Fox News is now, like, Trump's back on his bullshit, and you're like, this is funny. Now, like, the media that was for you is, like, you're on some bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like, that's so funny. Because I was listening to the news this morning, and Fox News had a headline that said, virtually he said no. And it was because he had said no to the virtual debate, which,
yeah,
dude, you have COVID. Like, say yes to the virtual debate. Like, just say yes to the virtual debate. And it said, virtually he said no. And I was like, dead. Well, shout out to Fox News for, like, Fox News, I've been noticing, has been more anti-Trump, and they've been, not that they've been anti-Trump, but they're less pro-Trump now. Mm. And so it's been funny to listen to, because George listens to the news every morning, and he goes through, like, MSNBC, CNN, NPR, like, Fox, so he, like, listens to all the news from all the different stations, through the GOOGLE, because if I say it, it's going to go off. But, yeah. I wonder if it can spell its name.
So far I don't hear anything, so.
Okay. Yeah, but so it's fun listening to, like, Fox News kind of change its course.
I'm always iffy, though. I'm kind of, I mean, for a while I was, like, paying attention to all the kind of, like, turncoats, I guess you'd call it. Then Mitt Romney did his shit, and ever since then I'm very distrustful, even of people who...
Yeah, because we were all for Mitt Romney. I was so for him. And then he was like, I'm up for re-election, so I'm going to side with Trump. Sir, the Mormons don't agree. The Mormons do not. The Mormons don't like Trump. And...
No, and then I learned that today with one of my students who I thought would be the biggest of all, like, pro-Trump supporter. And then he came out like, my family hates Trump. I was like, this is coming from a Mormon kid. Oh, okay.
Yeah. My friend was telling me, because, you know, I went to this wedding, and she lives around a lot of Amish, and she was like, the Amish hate Trump. I was like...
You pissed off the Amish.
I know, how did you piss off the Amish? She also said the Amish are rude to her because she wears pants at work. But, I mean, I guess. She works at Hobby Lobby.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
so they're just coming in to get all their supplies. I mean, well, first off, you work at Hobby Lobby, and they're pretty anti-Semitic as far as companies go. But,
they also steal artifacts from religious groups, and, yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah, nobody really likes Hobby Lobby. Go to Michael's. Michael's is unproblematic.
I got good coupons through the Michael's.
Yeah, and Michael's has, so, you know, me and my knitting. Michael's has this huge selection of yarn that, like, I went to Joann's and I was like, some yarn. And then I went to Michael's and I was like, some yarn.
And we have a lot of them here, and it's beautiful because, I mean, not that I need to, but I can just jump from Michael's to Michael's, and oh my gosh, I am getting.
Well, I've decided I'm getting into painting for this winter. You know, I want to paint something, like, not that specifically because I'm not that talented. My elephant painting, for those of you who are listening. But you know how they paint with knives?
Oh, yeah.
I want to do that kind of painting. So, like, do a stencil or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to get into it over Christmas because, we don't start classes back until the 19th.
I heard about this somewhat in the group chat, and I was very confused about it, but I didn't get time to stop and ask that. Is there a reason?
We're after Martin Luther King Day. I mean, our classes don't end until the 17th, but last year they ended at the 19th, and we were still back in school by the 6th. They're just giving us a longer break.
What time is finals?
Huh?
Is finals still in the same?
No, finals are ending earlier than last year.
Yeah,
it's before my birthday this year. So we have a whole month instead of, like, the 2 weeks we had last year. But we just found out that most of our courses are going to be online for next semester too, so because there's no improvement in the current state of the world. But
they keep saying that to us too. In fact, when they were talking about our student teaching, which is in 2022, they even use the words, and we'll see how student teaching will go. So that's how far ahead people are anticipating.
I mean, eventually everybody's going to die out, which...
I don't want to think about it.
Did you see that there are rising magma levels under Yellowstone?
I did not.
Isn't that scary? Wouldn't that just be the cherry on top for 2020? Because that would affect us. Like,
Yep. I honestly, at this point, I have a friend who sends me, well, you know her. She's sat next to us in property. Yeah. She sends me all the latest, like, crazy storm stuff. There was one where it was, like, a zombie tropical storm. It's, like, a rare storm that, like, dies out, but then, like, comes back.
Oh, Delta!
Yes! It's getting very scary out there. Very scary.
That's so funny. I didn't know we were calling it a zombie storm, but I knew what storm we were talking about. The poor Gulf Coast is getting murdered.
Yes.
Like, straight murdered. Like, natural disasters said, you know who we're going to fuck up today? The Gulf Coast. Poor them. But, so rising in magma levels under Yellowstone National Park. We're gonna die.
We are, probably. No.
Yeah, because then there was, like, earlier this year, there was an earthquake in North Carolina, and I was like... People say they felt it, but they said it felt all the way to Virginia and in Tennessee.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's not...
And I had some people say they felt it, and some people said they didn't. But, like, the consensus was, like, the joke consensus was, if you felt it, you gotta get right with God. Which I just thought was funny. But, yeah. Oh, you know what? The fly on yesterday's debate.
Oh my gosh. I want this. I'm telling people. I want it blown up as a wall-size portrait.
The fly on his head?
Yeah.
Oh my god. It was so funny. We were sitting here watching the debate and I was looking at him. I was like, do they have a microphone on his head? And George said, is that a fly? Oh, and the fly is, like, getting memed out, and I love it. I am so here for it. I'm here for that kind of energy. But, in all news, the debate was problematic.
It really was. I can't believe, first of all, the fact that Kamala Harris had to be the one to tell him to stop interrupting. Like, moderator, where you at?
Yeah, I mean, and she policed Kamala Harris a lot.
Yes.
And I thought that was completely unfair. Like, I'm not pro Kamala Harris, mostly because of her social justice reforms. Not being very social justice reformy. Mm-hmm. But I have a lot of respect for her in that, you know, she's a black woman that's, like, in a white male dominated world, and she's doing the damn thing. But she was policed yesterday. Like every time she would get to time, they would stop her and she would be like, well, can I have equal time? And they'd be like, no. She's like, you don't get equal time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so unfair. And even when he interrupted her and took like 30 seconds, she was like, okay, but he interrupted me.
Yeah.
Like, and I think she thought she was very respectful.
She was.
And I think she held her own. And like, I think Pence was trying to be more like Trump in the dominate the stage kind of way. And I think she held her own.
She did. But she should not have.
She shouldn't have had to.
She should not have had to. It's very weird because I've been watching, just a weird hobby of mine. I got into presidential debates way back in 2008. When Obama was first running, and then I heard him speak, and like I remember as like, what was I, like 11 or 12-year-old, I was like, I don't know, something about it. Just hearing it was very drawn
That's
in.
like that's what the whole black community, all the black kids were like, oh, he's running for president, I can run for president.
Mm-hmm.
We finally got like belief in ourselves in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Obama. Yeah.
But it's hard this time because it's like we can't get anything out of these debates because we got the two bozo, musty, white, old, stale bread who don't even know, first of all, anything about anyone outside of their own selves. They can't think that way. So basically, these whole debates for them, it's like another campaign rally for them. Just like,
well, speaking of campaign rallies, Trump said no to the virtual debate, but then was like, I'll go hold a campaign rally instead. And we're like, sir, you still have COVID. Not the point. Sir still has COVID. But Pence also during the debate said that he would not apologize for being pro-life. And in general, we are pro-choice on this family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know about my actual family, but in my created family, we are pro-choice in this family. You have not the right to tell somebody else. And he said he wouldn't apologize for it. I'm like, but what if, one of your kids or your grandkids, like, and they see you directly saying that what they're doing is wrong and what they're doing is shameful, but you're also not going to be okay with them having a kid out of wedlock.
Mm.
So, there are a lot of things out of that debate. Also, I really thought Kamala Harris, one thing I didn't like about Kamala Harris, is that she was trying to make Joe Biden seem like such a regular guy. She tried so hard. She was like, when me and Joe had a Zoom call. And I was like, okay.
Was he awake for the Zoom call?
Was he awake for the Zoom call? Yeah, I thought she tried to make him seem too regular. Like, that worked really well with Obama, is making him seem like a regular person who, wife and kids. Mm-hmm. Like, he had young kids at the time. But I don't think it can work with Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is not.
But Obama was Ivy League educated and Joe Biden is not.
True.
So, a regular Joe he is.
But as far as his interests go, maybe this is the very far leftist in me. That definitely does not have the regular Joe in mind when he thinks for his policies. But I'm at a point, though, where as someone who usually votes far left, I'm voting for them because kind of at a point here where you're picking between a guy that, yes, he's not very progressive, but there's possibilities to negotiate versus other two who have, in one way or another, claimed that they will not recognize election results.
I think another big thing that came from the debate is that they were talking about how Trump tried to close down borders with China in February. And they were saying that, you know, it was all the Democrats that stopped it. But at the same time, if Trump knew that this was deadly, why didn't he share the information? Because I'm sure they would have closed down borders. But instead, he kept the information to himself. And then when all they have to go off is China saying that it's not deadly, everybody's fine. Why would they? But they were like, the Democrats. I was like, but the Democrats were operating under the best information they had. And the Republicans are going to do whatever Trump says. So.
Hence why I'm scared for November. Because we got I don't even think we're close to getting out of COVID right now. And it's gonna be real interesting depending on the outcome of elections. I mean,
I would just like to apologize that my house is a mess. It is a mess right now.
it's fine.
Oh, but yeah, I don't think we're close to getting out of COVID. I think this is gonna last a lot longer than we're even predicting now. And I think 100,000 more Americans are gonna die. Also, another thing I didn't like about Kamala Harris is that she said dead bodies instead of like. She was like, we have 210,000 dead bodies. Ma'am, you could have said that different. But I loved her facial expressions. She was serving all the looks. I thought it was so funny because, and they said it right. They were like, every black mom has that look, and they do. Mm-hmm. They really do. Yeah, just real funny. But I mean, I think, another thing that stuck out to me really is when she said, if you are a person with a pre-existing condition, they're coming for you. And as a person with a pre-existing condition, I am hella worried.
Yeah. I don't know, I think that's kind of my message again to right now, people who, I understand people who are iffy about voting Joe Biden, okay, I am 100% there. He is definitely not any of what I would say progressive. A lot of things that he leans towards to me come out more conservative, and not like the good kind. But we've been at a point, in my opinion, but to put it in perspective, we're at a point where it's life or death. You're choosing between life or death with Trump and Biden right now. This should be a no-brainer.
Right, like the rolling back of trans rights, the rolling back of gay rights. I mean, and part of me hopes that the Supreme Court is like not a bunch of assholes, but I don't have a lot of faith.
No, they're talking about getting rid of gay marriage again. I'm just like, please not.
Yo, you just had it for a minute, like.
Just like, can y'all stop?
Oh, and I loved how Mike Pence's defense to Trump saying stand back and stand by to the Proud Boys, a known anti-Semitic group, was that he had Jewish kids in their family. Like, that erases. Like, yeah, I know he has Jewish kids in his family. Doesn't mean he supports them. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one of the one daughters he doesn't talk about? Mm-hmm. I mean, he really doesn't talk about that one. I don't even remember her name.
I only know Ivanka because of the weird relationship there.
Oh, you know what's weirder to me about Ivanka is that she's not Melania's daughter, but she looks just like Melania.
Plastic surgery.
I don't think that's it. I think Trump just likes women who all look the same.
Ooh.
And so when he had a kid with another woman who looked similar to Melania, he just came out that way.
Speaking of Melania, did you hear her fucking Christmas thing?
No.
That's the leak thing where she... You have to look this up. There's like a leaked audio of her having this rant about Christmas. Having to decorate the White House for Christmas. It's funny, but at the same time, it's just sick because she's talking about how she doesn't like how people are pinning her attitude towards the immigration detention centers, pinning it on her when she's fully responsible for that. When she wore that shit like "I don't care, do you?" That was a clear message. Instead of having like a thoughtful conversation about it, though, this audio was revealed. I forget who she was speaking to, but she goes from like, "How come no one was saying anything like before my husband got in there?" And they're picking on me. So she jumps from immigration to then the next line she jumps to is they're criticizing me about like Christmas, like the fucking Christmas decorations. Who cares about Christmas? And it is the weirdest audio you ever listen to, because this is coming from the mouth of a woman who she and her husband claim that they are so pro-Christian.
Trump is not a Christian. That's so funny.
It is hilarious.
You
have to look it up.
Who cares about Christmas? A lot of people.
But she drops the F-bomb.
I consider myself Jewish, and I still care about Christmas. Because I love Christmas music. I love Christmas music.
Well, don't play it for Melania, because apparently it will send her into distress, and somehow her and her husband's treatment of immigrants of color is somehow pinned
related to Christmas.
Her fucking
yeah,
Christmas.
Next time I'm around Melania, I'll be sure to remember not to play her Christmas music, because I spend so much time around Melania. There was one time Ivanka is buying a house in Gaston County, North Carolina, which is like 2 counties over from mine. And first off, she's also on like Gaston County Road or something, which is a shady road. And we're like, why are you buying a house in Gaston County, North Carolina? Who decided that was a good idea? She bought a house. She like walked into a gas station like a regular person. And she bought a cigarello.
Oh.
And a can of Coke.
Okay.
I know. And they interviewed what's the word I'm thinking of? The gas station owner. And he was like, yeah, she was totally a regular person. I don't like her dad though, but like a regular person. And I was like, okay. I don't know why she's trying to buy a house in Gaston County. I don't know how many people listen to this podcast that are not in North Carolina, or who are in North Carolina, but Gaston County is like, it's a back. But also in Gaston County, the Jonas Brothers' parents have a restaurant in Gaston County.
This is new information.
It's called Nellie's. It's named after their dog. They randomly will pop up there and do shows.
I know where I will be going.
It's
for my spring break.
It's an adorable restaurant too, and their food is so good. I recommend the chicken salad. I love chicken salad. It's so good. I also had their catfish. Great, and it's just a cute little in Belmont. Well, yeah. So if you go to Nellie's and it's but yeah, they're known to just like pop up there because it's their parents' restaurant. So.
Yeah, can you imagine if you were like eating in there and then you look up and there's a Jonas Brothers just walked in? Wow.
Yeah, the weekend after I was there, they popped up and I was like, so annoying. They just popped up.
It's still cool because you're in a restaurant that the Jonas Brothers pop
right.
up in.
The little one is there all the time. I say the little one like he's not like my age. The youngest one is there all the time. But I think he like is the one taking over the restaurant.
Oh. Wait, was he on the Disney Channel at all?
No. No. He didn't get the talent. Get the talent. I also would argue that Kevin didn't get the talent, but
leave Kevin alone. I'm only Kevin fan, apparently.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll leave Kevin alone.
Although I'll be honest, I wasn't that big of a Joe Rose fan.
I was. But yeah, I can't tell you how much I blamed Kevin for getting married. I was like, you broke up the band. I was so mad. I was like, you had to go and get married. But like, I was also 12 and didn't understand that he was like 25. And so like, it was a normal time to get married. Now they're all married.
Yeah.
And Joe just had a baby.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you know who he's married to? The Game of Thrones star,
the redhead?
Yeah, the redhead.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I didn't know they were married, and then it was like, they're having a kid? Yeah. What the heck?
Huh.
Because she, when she's not in Game of Thrones, or when she wasn't in Game of Thrones, she's blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks like a completely different person.
Yeah, I automatically went to redhead.
But it is the redhead, but she's blonde. But I also was like, you were too young for Joe. Apparently not. I just don't know the ages of people. It also kind of sucks because I watched Game of Thrones and like after everything had come out, and so I like watched her grow up in a span of a couple months. But yeah, that's who he's married to. They just had a baby.
Now they have to have 2 more, and then they can have next generation.
Next generation Joe Bros. Yeah, I don't think Nick's having kids anytime soon. I mean, everybody's having babies. I mean, my friend just got married. She said she's not having babies for another 3 years, though, but I doubt it.
Yeah, once you're married and then you start seeing everybody else with theirs, and
I mean, I am not married now, and I'm like, give me a baby. Not that I won't. I think my biological clock is just like, you need to have a child now, and I'm like, I really don't. I'm in law school. I don't. Did you see you probably didn't, because why would you follow Above the Law? Above the Law posted, I just read this article earlier. They posted about a like a law student who was taking the bar. She was in labor, and so she like in the middle of the bar had to go have the baby and finish the test in the hospital after giving birth.
how?
My question, I don't remember what state it was in, but my question is like, they're so strict about the bar. How did you manage to do that? Second, why didn't you just wait? Like, girl.
This reminds me of why I left. You guys tire yourselves like so much. It's.
Oh, my Supreme Court brief. I have to work on it with another person.
I mean, eventually, yeah, I was gonna have to get to that.
Well, yeah, but I don't want another person to see how shitty of a writer I am.
Aren't you in you're in moot court?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that that's like AP version of...
AP version of Lark, yeah, it is. You're right, because we be flying through stuff, and we have completely different scenarios. But, yeah. It is like the AP version of Lark. But now I'm helping my sister and my mentee with Lark, because my sister, love her, she's not the greatest of writers. But she was also like a business administration major, so like they don't do a lot of writing in undergrad. Yeah. And she did that on purpose. But maybe she majored in international business. I don't know, one of the two. But now she's in law school.
I hope it were contours. That should, right? No?
You would think, but the answer is probably no. She's in property right now and she hates it, so. And property and contracts are the best. Property. Well, contracts and property are very similar.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to like it. I mean, something can be...
I was like looking at her schedule and she had the Popov case, you know, the one with the baseball.
Oh.
And they were like, split the baseball.
Didn't we watch a video on that?
Yeah, we did watch a whole video on that.
Man. And then he had some awkward act. He's such an awkward person.
He's so awkward.
when the porn bots came onto the Zoom.
I wasn't there for that class, but I watched the thing and he
people.
was like, I think we are being Zoom bombed.
Of all people for that to happen to.
I
'cause
know,
he's
like if
such
it would have happened to one of our the female professor, it would have been like, she would have been like, yeah, my son watches porn all the time, but like, either way.
Gosh, oddly with that.
I can't imagine.
You click on accident, you know he would. It says download here. Sorry, don't do it.
Oh, my evidence professor is like that. He is so old. So, you know, I don't know if you know my evidence professor, but he used to be a judge. He also taught Otley, if that just tells you how old he is.
At DePaul, he taught on me? Or someone my dad would have had him. I'd have to ask him.
Well, he might have been a judge at the time, but he taught Otley, and now he makes us buy his $250 book. He's like, the proceeds go to DePaul's scholarship fund. Sir, just give it back to me. Just be like, please hand me a check and be like, I'm so sorry that you had to buy this book. Or stop coming out with updates so that we could get it secondhand. But no. And his book, we're not reading cases. He's just like, this is a rule. Let me explain the history of this rule. And I'm like, no. So, don't tell my parents, but, I mean, if they could listen to this.
I see it's also then he's more into, like, the legal history part.
Yeah. But I basically just stopped reading and just looked up what rules we were doing and then watched Themis videos about it because it's easier than reading this, like, 50-page thing about one rule. So I was like, well, let me just watch the Themis video.
Tried it towards videos in the past. I don't think I ever read the...
Don't be mean to my cat.
Thanks.
Well, I don't really have anything else to talk about now that we've run the gambit and got way off topic.
No, I don't have anything to add other than that. Well, there'll be definitely more stuff to cover next week. The list will just keep growing.
Yeah, we'll just keep you updated on our opinions about the upcoming debate.
I think that's going to be, I don't know for you, but for me that's what I've been following a lot because now we're into the final month.
Well, people have already started early voting already.
That's right. They have. So
I voted. George voted.
If you can early vote,
please do.
Go do it. What are you
Especially if
waiting
you're doing a mail-in ballot. Please get your stuff out by literally next week.
Because you don't want them to send it back to you 4 days after it's too late, telling you that your signature is not correct. So yeah, please get those in. Do your civic duty. Vote. Well, this has been Two Shy Girls Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. You could subscribe to YouTube at Two Shy Girls. Or if Facebook is more your style, it's facebook.com/Two Shy Girls. And then if you're at Twitter, if you like Twitter, and if not, it's at Two Shy Girls. Have a good day.